Okay, hey Glencoe geometry students, this is Wednesday's lesson. It's very easy. It's perimeter and area. So we're just going to remind ourselves of perimeter and area. And you will be doing page 733, 1 through 15 all. I realize you can only grade the odds, but that's okay. Bring them into class and we'll score the evens when we get to class. Perimeter is the distance, the linear distance around something. It's like putting up a fence around something. So if I have a rectangle and I have the dimensions that it's 4 by 7, okay, by definition, a rectangle, the opposite sides have the same length. If I want to put up a fence that goes all the way around that rectangle, I have to add up all the sides. So I have to put a fence up for this 4, let's say it's feet, 4 feet, add it to this 7 feet, add it to this 4 feet, add it to this 7 feet. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 and 11 is 22. I would need 22 feet of fence to put up around here. Now there's a little bit faster way to do this. You know that the opposite sides have the same length or the same measurement. If this were we could say that we had 2 times the 4-foot length, and we were going to add that to 2 times the 7-foot length. That would still give us, 8 plus 14. That would still give us 22 feet. I would have still gotten the same answer. So if we did not know what the measurements were, if we just knew that this was the length and this was the width, the formula that we would use to find the distance around, or the perimeter, would be 2 times the length added to 2 times the width. And that will give me the perimeter. You will get a formula sheet with all these formulas on it. There are formulas on page 732, but you know, I don't memorize things well, and I know it's difficult. Think about what it is that you're doing, and then the formula doesn't need to be memorized so much as it does think through what you're doing. If I know perimeter is just to add up all the outside lengths, then we can do that. But this is the formula we generally see because it's adding 2 of the lengths to 2 of the widths, and that gives us the distance around. Now if you have a square, one thing we know about a square is that all 4 sides have the same length. Now I'm going to do my best to draw one. Not too bad. So if we call this side length S, we know that all of the side lengths are S. They all have the same distance. So let's say that our length was 10 inches. Then the perimeter for this square is the measurement of all the sides, so I could put a fence around the outside. So it would be 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. In other words, I would need 40 inches, which isn't, maybe I don't know what I'm building a fence around, something very small if I'm dealing in inches. That's how we're thinking of this, okay? But now, if you know that the side lengths are all equal, and one of those side lengths is S, then the formula for perimeter of a square is 4 times S, that side length. Now, I try to make the S look a little curly so it doesn't look like a 5. I hope I'm succeeding. But 4 times S is the formula for perimeter of a square. Again, you don't really need to memorize that other than know this. We're adding up all 4 of the equal side lengths. And that's perimeter of a square. Perimeter is the outside distance around a shape. The other operation you'll be doing in this particular homework lesson, which is page 733, will be area. Now if we start with a rectangle, and let's say it had a length of 3 and a width of 2. Now we're not finding perimeter anymore. Now we're laying tiles. We're laying square tiles. How much area do I have to fill up? So I have 3 across here and 2 here. Well, if I mark that off, I can easily see that I have 6 tiles that I will need. But if I have really large numbers, I don't want to be drawing all these little tiles. So we find that if we take the length times the width. 3 times 2, I get 6. Now let's say this is feet. Feet squared. Remember, I've got 6 individual little squares here that are filling up that length. So 6 feet squared is what the area of this is. The formula for this is length times width equals area. And the units are always squared, because now you're not finding linear length, you're finding how many squares it takes to fill up an area. Length times width. Same thing with a square. The only difference with a square is that the length is the same as the width. A square has all 4 sides the same length. So if I have length times width, I have side times side, or I have side squared, is how I would find the area of this. Let's say that the length of this was 12 yards. Well, if it's a square, we know the width is also 12 yards. So it's 12 times 12, or 12 squared, 144 yards squared. Meaning it would take 144 square yards to fill up the inside of that area. Okay, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, some of these have decimals. If they are easy, short, small decimals, you can do them longhand, okay? There aren't that many problems to do here, so let's just get practice with numbers. Let's not use calculators yet. I think it's a little too early to start using the calculator. Make sure that you use the units. If it's in feet, your answer needs to say feet. If it's in yards, your answer needs to say yards. You will lose points on that on a test if you do not include the units. Measurement is a big part of mathematics. Accuracy is a big part of this, and we want to accurately record the units. If you are measuring linear length, perimeter, it's just the unit, inch, centimeter, mile, yard. If you are finding the area of something, the units are all squared. Square feet, square yards, square inches. Okay? That's really it. This is a really quick and easy lesson, but that's all you have for Wednesday. All right.